Something really startling is happening right now. Western executives, they're taking these trips over to China, and they are all coming back with the exact same, pretty unified warning. And it's a warning about a future that's, well, it's getting here a lot faster than any of us expected.
Just let that quote sink in for a second. There are no people. Everything is robotic. Now, that's not a line from some sci-fi blockbuster. That's a direct quote from Andrew Forrest, the founder of the mining giant Fortescue, right after his latest trip. He was so blown away by what he saw, he immediately scrapped his own company's plans to make their own EV powertrains. Why? Because he realized they couldn't possibly compete.
And this really paints the picture of the scale of this change. These executives are touring what are being called dark factories. The name pretty much says it all, right? The automation is so total that the robots can just work 24/7 in the pitch dark. I mean, why would you need lights when there are hardly any humans there to see?
And this completely shatters a myth many of us have held for a long time. For decades, the whole story about China's edge was cheap labor. Well, according to Octopus Energy's CEO Greg Jackson, that story is ancient history. The new story? It's about a massive wave of super-skilled engineers who are, in his words, innovating like mad. So these stories from top execs, they're more than just a few shocking anecdotes. They're actually pointing to a much larger nationwide strategy. And when you look at the numbers behind it all, well, it's just staggering. So let's be really clear here. These dark factories, they aren't some weird anomaly. They are just the very tip of the iceberg. What we're actually witnessing is a strategic, nationwide rollout of automation on a scale the world has literally never seen before. And here it is. This chart just lays it all bare. See that massive bar on the left? That's China. The others, the US, Germany, the UK, they barely even register in comparison. We're not talking about a small lead here. We are talking about a lead of orders of magnitude. China is playing an entirely different game when it comes to industrial robots.
And just so you know, this isn't some wild guess. This data comes straight from the global authority on this stuff, the International Federation of Robotics.
Okay, so this brings us to the biggest question of all. Why? Why this absolutely monumental investment? I mean, the usual Western reason, cutting labor costs, that just doesn't explain the sheer scale of what's happening. There is a much deeper strategy at play here.
So what is it really? Is this all just about boosting profits? Or is it about something far more fundamental, something tied to securing the entire country's future? This slide really gets to the heart of the matter. See, in the West, automation is usually a business decision, right? It's driven by quarterly reports, profit margins. But in China, it's a national strategy. They're looking ahead at a future with a shrinking workforce, and they are automating now, preemptively, to solve that future problem, while at the same time building a basically unbeatable competitive advantage for the long haul. Let's just call it what it is, preemptive automation. This isn't about reacting to today's labor market, it's about solving tomorrow's demographic crisis while building an industrial base that is unassailable. It's like they're playing chess while a lot of others are still playing checkers.
Now, if you want to see where this strategy is having the most dramatic, most immediate impact, you only have to look at one industry, electric vehicles. This is the battleground. This is where the future of manufacturing is being decided as we speak.
And who better to lay it out for us than the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley? He doesn't pull any punches. A 700-pound gorilla. That's how a direct competitor describes China's position in the EV market. That's huge.
So here's how this is all playing out on the world stage. China's hyper-efficient factories are cranking out world-class EVs. The United States sees this coming and puts up what's basically a protectionist dam to try and shield its own car makers. But over in Europe, where the market's more open, these Chinese EVs are making a massive impression.
This, to me, is maybe the most stunning admission of all. Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, one of China's biggest rivals, he secretly flew a Chinese Xiaomi EV from Shanghai to Chicago. And his personal verdict after driving it for 6 months? I don't want to give it up. Wow. I mean, when your biggest competitor admits your product is that good, you know the entire game has changed.
And let's be clear, this isn't just about who makes the best cars. The EV war is just one single front in a much larger competition. This is really a race to build the entire economic foundation of tomorrow. And this long-term thinking, it's being applied everywhere. China has a 10-year plan to make artificial intelligence a core driver of their economy.
Its national space program is moving so fast that it's creating real fear that they could beat the US back to the moon. This is a total all-fronts push into the future.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean? It means we are watching a fundamental shift in global competition. This isn't just about some robots on an assembly line. It's about a whole different way of thinking, a long-term strategic vision combined with just relentless innovation that is literally reshaping the industrial map of our planet.
And that leaves us with one final, really big question. As this robotic revolution picks up speed, and the race for AI, for space, and for manufacturing gets even more intense, who ultimately is going to build the future?